Oh boy, folks, welcome. The final episode before we go over to the old Comedy Store. Next week we will be there. And I have a bit of a conundrum. I'll get into it in a bit. I'll like your opinion. Maybe we can make a poll or something. But first, I got to let you know, this very week, coming up here this weekend, I will be in Portland, Maine on the 6th of September. Can't wait. Coming up here this week, Portland, Maine, and then the day after that on the 7th, I will be in Long Island, New York at Governor's. TheJoshPotter.com is where you can get tickets for those shows. Also, September 12th, I just found out it's the night that the Bills are playing on Thursday Night Football. I love when I do things like that. So come celebrate with me, and maybe we'll watch the game beforehand or what have you at the Brea Improv here in Southern California, September 12th. TheJoshPotter.com is where you can buy tickets. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com is where everyone sends in all of their Roach reportings and music, the way Griff Parker always does. And that is how, by the way, that will continue. That is how you can continue to send in stuff, no matter us moving to the Comedy Store or what. You can still send in all your stuff there to joshpottershow@gmail.com. Gotta say, folks, I've spent many days coming on this podcast. I've always let you know when I'm not feeling well, or if I'm hungover, if I was partying too much, and I go, oh boy, how am I going to make it through this? Today is maybe the worst I've ever. I just woke up with a crazy migraine, canceled my set for tonight. Knew I still have to do this. I can't. The show must go on. But I got to tell you, I don't feel funny at all. I think I puked 3 times today. I think my apartment smells like... We're really limping across the finish line here in the old Roach Motel on the last day. Oh boy, I might puke on the fucking air today. I'm trying not to. We got to blur that out. I'm sure YouTube will take our channel away for puking or what have you. But nevertheless, final episode, solo episode. That's because this show, by the way, it was always meant to be a solo show. Sometimes I get bored and I want to have my friends in. I want to have a guest here and there. But this show was always started out to be as being a solo show. The intention of it was just to be me. And, have Alex or whomever was in the booth at the time. But I always started out that way, so I thought I'd finish it off this tenure, this period of the program solo. And I didn't. I'm still kind of racking my brain. I've had a few guests that I approached for the very first episode trying to make a splash, and the timing didn't work out because we have a particular day we have to shoot the first episode at the Comedy Store. But the people who I've approached have agreed to do the show in the subsequent weeks. So I've lined up a few guests, but no one for the first episode. And I'm curious, do you want a splashy guest out of the gate, or should I just have Chase and Sarah at the same time? I don't know. Or do I go solo for the first episode at the Comedy Store? I want to hear your feedback before I make a final decision. I've got some irons in the fire, as I mentioned, but would love to hear what the Roaches, who've stuck it out with me through thick and thin, would like to do for the first episode. Football starting this week, and I'm elated. I'm trying to go back to my roots, in that I am going to enjoy football again. I know I've maybe sounded like I haven't stopped enjoying football. I never really did, but I'm going to go hard this year. Last year, I think I broke up with that girl around this time, or we were seeing each other during the football season. I cannot recall exactly, but my brain was elsewhere. Things were happening that made me not concentrate on the football season. I didn't win very much money gambling last year. The year before, the Roach was really dialed in all the way around. When it came to college ball, when it came to pro, I'm back, baby. The video game has helped me. NCAA football. They call it college football now, 25. And that video game is maybe the best video game ever created, in my opinion. These people, they play their Calls of Duty, they play their Fortnites, they play whatever else. I'm not a guns guy. People are like, well, why do you play these? You want to play fake sports? What are you playing, fake war? Shut up. I mean, come on. Let me have my fun, and I don't bemoan yours, But football is coming. We have college football already, first weekend And now the NFL is about to begin. Let's get into sports.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep 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 beep.
I've stopped myself from puking like 3 times. Staring into the bright lights is not helping my situation. It might not be funny. I'm going to talk for an hour. I'm going to fulfill my duty. And I hope to God that you laugh at least once during this entire thing. But nevertheless, football is beginning. People have asked me about Russell Wilson, if there's been any Sussel updates. And, I've been laying low on Sussel because I've kind of felt bad for him after his Denver situation. I mean, his world collapsed. And now, from the ashes, he has to, like a phoenix, rise with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said, when I found out about this deal about him going to Pittsburgh, I said, if there's any place that he can revive his career, it's going to be Pittsburgh. And they are not going to tolerate the Sussel Wilson antics that we saw in Denver, where he had his own office. He had his own coaching staff. He just was running amok. He's doing Subway commercials. He's kissing baby. Then Sean Payton came in as the coach, and he goes, there's going to be no more of that. And he kind of cracked the whip on old Sussel a little bit, He kind of, pegged him down a little bit, and he found himself lost and not performing very well either. So now that he's with Mike Tomlin, I think he could have a renaissance with Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin did name him the starter. So we'll see what happens. His first game as a Pittsburgh Steeler is going to be coming up. I don't know that Sierra followed him to Pittsburgh. It's one of those, now it's getting to the point where it's like, all right, you get to go about your follies. We bought a crazy house in Denver. I don't know that they sold that. They left Seattle, where they had a very nice home as well. So being in Pittsburgh, I don't think he's planning on, placing roots in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens there. Sometimes if I'm a wife of an NFL player who's at this point in their career where they are, sort of in the waning days, and they have like a one-off contract here and there, I'm going to say, hey, it's 18 weeks. You're on the road for half of that anyway. Go to Pittsburgh. I'll stay here. It's okay. Collect the bags. Come home when you're done. And Russell doesn't seem like a guy, despite all the sus activity that we believe he's into, and he's a very big weirdo. I don't see him as a person who is doing the 1-2 step on Sierra. Do you know what I mean? Stepping outside the marriage. I don't see him as that type of guy. I think he's like, Sierra, Pittsburgh's scary. I feel like he calls her, and he's like, I don't like it here, or whatever. He did sell his home for a loss.
Yeah. There was a bunch of stories in the Denver Post about
look at that house.
Nobody wanted to buy his house.
Dude, it was well, it's not only that, it's an astronomical price. It's $25 million. It's okay, even hearing how much that house costs, it looks more like it would cost more. Like if you were like, hey Josh, how much does this house cost? I would have been like, I don't know, $70 million. I would have no sense, but 25 million is pretty up there. And for a place outside of Denver, it's the Cherry Hills Village home. I mean, that thing is sprawling. That is bananas. Who needs it, frankly, for 25 million? So he bought it for 25 million. How much did he lose?
Bought it for 25 million, sold it for 21.25. So took a 4 million loss on
that's nothing.
It's a big old bummer. That house is also just like out in the Denver suburbs where there's nothing to do there. Like that's $25 million on basically a lot. I mean, obviously that house is gorgeous.
Yeah, but it's like a coveted suburb to live in the Denver suburbs, I would imagine, Real estate in Denver is very high. I once dated a girl who was a real estate lady in Denver. Anywho, nevertheless, so we'll see what happens. I don't think he's buying a home in Pittsburgh. I think he's just kind of shacking up. They're doing the old, we'll get a condo. I'm sure you can get the nicest of condos in Pittsburgh. $25 million would go a long way in the Pittsburgh real estate market, though, I gotta tell you. So we'll keep our eye on old Sussel Wilson here this year as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I've done a 180 or if I've matured or grown. I'm rooting for the guy to revive his career, because what would we be without Sussel Wilson? We've been following him for quite a long time. And now he's at the tail end of his career. And we are going to be without Sussel Wilson at some point in our lives. And then what? How will we feel? I don't think I'd feel very good. So I'm going to try and keep him around. But elsewhere in the NFL, my very sweet baby boy, Josh Allen, is taking a lot of flack, and it's kind of the flack that I enjoy, quite frankly. And Josh Allen was dubbed, according to some other NFL players. There was an anonymous poll of over 100 current NFL players released by ESPN back on August the 27th. And in this petition or this survey or poll or what have you, Josh Allen was named the league's most overrated quarterback. And that's the kind of thing I like to hear because, Josh Allen he's never had accolades. He's always been counted out by everyone and anyone. And I like a little chip on his shoulder. He goes, overrated. Okay, I'll show you overrated. And we all know he's fantastic. But there was another aspect of this poll that he was also, according to these anonymous players, he was voted as the number one trash talker. God, I like that. And that shows, like I said, that he's not boastful, but he does have, what do the kids say? Riz. He's the NFL's Rizzler. By the way, I've been in a Rizzler wormhole lately, not to go on a migraine tangent, but that little kid's, blink if you need help, pal. Blink if you need help. He's just a poor little kid who just goes like this. I think that's what he does, right? He does one of these. And then he's just a little cute fat kid that goes viral for that. God bless you, Rizzler. Please let us know if your parents are stealing your money or holding you hostage. We are all here to help you. We all want to help. Anywho, Josh Allen voted the number one best trash talker. And I think it's pretty if I voted Josh Allen the number one trash talker, I would not be proud that this went public and it was out there. I'm glad. I would be thankful that it was anonymous. I wouldn't want the number one trash talker to know that I was you're the number one trash talker. He says mean things to me. In the poll, one NFC East player said of Allen, he's going to run you over and talk trash after he runs you over. God, I love that. Allen topped the trash talker list with 26 votes, followed by, and this is another cool one, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Baker Mayfield and the New York Jets Aaron Rodgers got 17 and 15 votes, respectively. Interesting. Aaron Rodgers talking trash. That old man. He probably just says some snide comment with his slick smile. Aaron Rodgers is not going to. Mark my words. We are here now on September, what is it, the 4th of September? This episode airs.
Yep.
I am going to tell you right now, on the September 4th, 2024, Aaron Rodgers is cooked. Mark my words, he will not have a good season. So get ready to talk all your trash, and then you can run for vice president in 4 years or whatever the hell. That was the whole thing. They were like, maybe he's going to be RFK's running mate. If I'm him, knowing full well that's never going to happen, because RFK was never going to get to the point where he would have a vice president. I think he had a chick vice president or whatever, but we knew he was going to just, kind of pick one side here or the other and try and get into the administration. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, this is nonsense. I'm the New York Jets quarterback for another 2 years or whatever it is. I'm making a great deal of money. Let's not put the New York Jets fans into a worry zone by putting these rumors out there, right? No, Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't know, I might be vice president. Who knows? Fucking jerk. But anything to fuck over Jets fans, I'm really kind of on board with. So far, he's been one of my favorite New York Jets quarterbacks of all time. On the most overrated list, one NFC player, player named Allen because he commits too many turnovers. And you got to break a few eggs if you want to make an omelet, right? He had 18 interceptions last season, second most in the NFL behind Sam Howell, who now probably won't even see the light of day on the Seattle Seahawks. Since being drafted by the Bills in 2018, Allen has helped lead the Bills to 4 division titles and 5 postseason appearances, though Super Bowl berth has remained elusive. Well, get ready, folks. A new season is upon us. We were just talking about Russell Wilson's home selling for $21 million after he purchased it for $25 million. Well, recently, and this was sent in by GL up in Ottawa. It's interesting to get a baseball story sent in by a Canadian, but I appreciate it, GL. Thanks for sending things in. This was a jersey worn by Babe Ruth, widely regarded as the greatest baseball player of all time, during Game 3 of the 1932 World Series. Isn't it crazy that we're almost 100 years from Babe Ruth? I mean, I know it all seems old and shit, but 100 years, it seems like crazy, right?
It's also just wild that he's still a byword for a great athlete, a legendary baseball player. Like, he still has so much cultural significance. And
it's crazy. Yeah, baseball's the only sport that really, like, the old-timey stuff. You're like, obviously, if you brought Babe Ruth into 2024 and you had to play, like, and you had to compare him to Shohei Ohtani, that you'd be like, this guy's some slob. Like, he'd never hit a fucking home run off any of these pitchers, because it's just a different sort of thing. And when you watch these guys, you're like, look at all these guys are like 28 and they look like they're 65. This is crazy. But obviously, yes, he has cultural significance. He is synonymous with the word baseball at the end of the day. And in Game 3 of the 1932 World Series, I do believe that is, yes, he pointed. That was like the famous thing. Babe Ruth pointed, right? He's like, it's gone. I'm going to hit a home run. He called his shots, and he hit a home run against the Chicago Cubs' Charlie Root. Imagine being Charlie Root. I didn't ever know who the pitcher was for the time Babe Ruth was like gone and then smacked one out. But imagine you're the family of Charlie Root. You get to be legendary. In a shitty sense, that's awful. Look at Charlie Root here. This poor guy. Looks old. Look at these people. This looks like my grandfather.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm like, I'm like probably almost a decade older than this man in that photo, but he looks like he is. It's like when you see those photos where they're like, we remastered a 1901 photo of Britain or a video of Britain, and the children look like they've been in a mine all day. Golly. We've come a long way. Well, the jersey that was worn by Babe Ruth, as he did this, he pointed, he called his shot. Game 3 of the 1932 World Series. Guess how much it was sold for recently in an auction. Now, this is back in 2022. Michael Jordan's jersey from the 1998 NBA Finals, that sold for $10 million. That was back in 2022. This jersey, on Saturday, it was sold for $24.12 million. That is as much as Russell Wilson's mansion. You could have bought Russell Wilson's mansion with that money and still had $3 million left over. Bananas. If this was a piece of art, this would be like buying the Mona Lisa, Chris Ivey, director of sports auctions at Heritage Auctions, said. We know that he pointed, but we don't know if he was pointing to the pitcher, if he was pointing towards the Cubs players in the dugout, or if he was calling his shot, but that mystery is why we're still talking about it almost 100 years later. I didn't know it was of such mystery, but I guess there isn't that many camera angles and you just saw him pointing. What if he was just pointing like, hey, did you get my water over there? Okay, cool. Like, what if he's just trying to get someone's attention for like no reason at all? Like, it was nonsense. He's like, hey, what's up? No, he just sees like his buddy in the stands. He's like, hey, how are you? Oh, I got a bat now because I'm Babe Ruth. We know that he pointed. Again, they said they don't know why, but the Yankees won that series 7-5, Ruth's 7th and final World Series title. Wild. And there's their pic. It's just like a fucking ratty. I'd wear that to like a house party and be like, yeah, 21. I mean, this thing has got to be in like that glass has to be like climate controlled or something. No weevil will get involved into there. And you can't even let the elements touch it. Unbelievable.
It's also just like, who's dropping $20 million on a jersey? Like,
that's what I want to know, who bought it. I mean, how rich? There would be so many different, I mean, like in terms of sports memorabilia, that one doesn't like tickle my anal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't go after that. Like, if it was a bit like O.J. Simpson wearing the jersey that O.J. Simpson wore when he broke 2,000 yards, I'd probably spend money on that. Can you see if that's out there in an auction world anywhere? The jersey, a game, just any game-worn O.J. Simpson jersey. Is that just like sitting there anywhere? Ooh, a USC one. I'd want a Bills one, though, obviously. Those are, what's that say?
This mid-70s one sold for about like $3,500.
$3,500? Give me one right now, for Christ's sake. Holy hell. Well, we'll look into that. See, that's all it takes for me. I'd have about $23.8 million left over if I had that kind of money. I could have still bought Russell. You could buy Russell Wilson's house and an O.J. Simpson game-worn jersey, but it's not the one where he broke the record. That'd be probably a bit more expensive, I would imagine. Oh, well, interesting stuff there. I just thought that was two things to compare. we saw that sprawling mansion of, I mean, could you imagine getting that mansion and then being like, you could have had Babe Ruth's game worn jersey when he pointed. Oh, really? I could have? Oh, well, I would have probably had millions of dollars left over to get a house. No. It's actually more expensive than the mansion in Cherry Hills or whatever the fuck it was called. Well, before we leave sports, GL in Ottawa also sent this guy in. He sent me 2 stories of the sports nature today. Scotty Scheffler, I don't follow golf, but, this guy, Scotty Scheffler, he's all over the place. He got arrested and everything else when he was on his way into the course the one day. I mean, he's a Boy Scout, but evidently he got in mixed up with the cops. Well, a new sort of, I don't know if this besmirches the man's record even further. I think this rises him in my rankings of my favorite golfers when they do something like this. An angry Scotty Scheffler appeared at the BMW Championship. The world's #1 golfer and Ridgewood, New Jersey native had a profanity-laced tirade on the 10th hole. Now, this is what I love about professional golf when they have a profanity, because you can go out on a golf course and everyone tries to have their etiquette. They try to remain, as the kids say, demure and not curse or throw things. But if you go like white trash golfing with a guy like me, you're hearing fuck or god damn, like you're hearing all the different curse words. Oh, fuck my mother. Like different, terribly, tapestries of cursing go on when we golf. And so it's nice to hear the pros are like us sometimes. And so let's hear if we can, because they have these mics, and of course the announcers are like, and Scotty Scheffler is on the 10th hole where he's looking to clear the water hazard. Here's the backswing. And they don't want to raise any, I don't even know why they whisper. They're not anywhere near these people. They're at a booth. They're not at every hole, the announcers. It's a remote thing. Like the hole could be, I don't know if you've ever been to a golf course. These things are far away from each other. So the announcers are maybe on the 18th or something, and there's a guy on the 6th. On the 6th tee, it's Scotty Scheffler. I don't know why they I don't know enough about golf broadcasting to understand why they're whispering necessarily. Maybe there's someone near them at the time that they're talking about someone else. I don't know. But with all those people there and keeping quiet, and sometimes they cheer once the shot is rung out, I don't get the whispering, but it leads us to hear the ambiance of the course. Jim Nance is great at it. His voice just kind of, it's like music. If you like ASMR, you should watch a golf broadcast. Nowadays, it could be jarring with the commercials, but for the most part, if you hear the birds chirping, you hear the wind, maybe the trees rustling, but every now and then you get a nice fuck in there as well. Let's hear Scotty Scheffler's tirade if we can. They didn't put that in the subtitles, huh? He's walking, he's saying, how is that possible? How is that possible? What the fuck? We got a good fuck in there. Let's see if it goes. Let's play it one more time. Crank it up for me.
Sometimes, but not as vocal as he is here.
Not as vocal as he is here. They even teed it up. They're like, watch this.
Is that not an upslope? Seriously. Is that not pre-plugged in? How is that possible? How? How? How is that possible?
Oh, he just had one fuck in there. He said, how is that possible? As he's walking and he's talking to his caddy, it's amazing how they probably have one of those satellite dish mics that like pick him up, but it's crazy that we're standing next to him, listening to him. He said, what the fuck, what, once? That's not a profanity-laced tirade. He just said, well, come on, that was a letdown. I wanted him to be like, how is that possible? What the fuck, cunt, motherfucker? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted him to go off there.
Yeah, I wanted him doing like what a tennis player does to a tennis racket on the side, but to a golf club.
Oh, the tennis players are good. I don't care about them breaking things, but the tennis players, when they curse, that's good too, because that's really encapsulated, and you hear once the announcers stop talking, you hear them like bounce the ball, and you hear the wind pick up the ambiance of the stadium, and it's like, ping, and then they're like, damn it! They really yell one out there.
I
Oh,
guess that
boy.
is the golf equivalent of like the tennis tower. Like that's all they'll tolerate. That is bad for golf because they're so like.
I'd be cursing every
About
single.
rules,
Even
so-
when I hit a good shot, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" You know what I'm saying? I would get so many fines and shit.
The
It would
bad
be
boy
brutal.
of the PGA Tour.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be that. They always like they have like John Daly, like he drinks a beer. You know what I'm saying? They're like he smokes cigs. It's like that's golf to me. I mean, you golf. I remember when I was a kid, I took golf lessons at a course, and then I would go with my dad who didn't take lessons, and he just wanted to like go have fun and drink beers, and maybe one of his friends would come and their kid or whatever. And we would go to courses where my dad could wear jean shorts and like a tank top. You know what I mean? And we'd bring our own cooler of beers.
Hey.
Or you could bring a cooler, but you had to buy beers sometimes at the things. But I remember we went to a course one time, and it was like a proper course where it's like you have to wear sleeves, and there were like rules. My dad's like, this fucking sucks. And he like, we didn't play there. He goes, I'm not playing here. And I didn't bring a shirt, and I was like, okay. So we went someplace else. But I like white trash. On the 9th hole, I want to stop at the thing and get a fried bologna sandwich. I like white trash golf. I don't like the whole. And I know all the. I like I said, I took the classes, the lessons. So you're taught etiquette, and you're taught like the proper things. So I know how to like mark my ball properly, or like dig a divot, or like who goes first, how to not walk in a line, stuff like that. But I prefer a little more like Caddyshack-esque, where it's just like we're fucking around. Maybe it's a par 3. We're just there to get fucking drunk. And then introducing weed later. That's so much fun. Oh my God, that was the best. I've never gone golfing on shrooms. I don't think you'd be very good. Because
Not
it's like
good,
a
but it's real
consistent. Yeah, that's what I would imagine. Microdosing golf would be a good time. I haven't golfed since I moved to LA. I don't have my clubs here. I've never even thought about it. Same with skiing. I used to be a real recreational sport guy. And you're like, how'd you ski, Josh? You have one eye. It was hard, but I was good at it. Anyway, let's move along to the news, shall we?
Ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-dum.
Oh boy, Daniel sent this bad boy in, and it comes to us by way of Florence County, South Carolina. An elementary school in Florence County is apologizing for a recent Facebook post. Ooh, what could it be? I love when a school has to apologize. Royal Elementary School said in a picture it posted on Wednesday, it showed an insensitive disregard for the current challenges our Hispanic population faces. Oh boy, what could this post have been? Good golly, the picture shows teachers dressing up for Royal Cantina. I don't know what that is. Is that a holiday or something?
No, I think Royale is the name of the school, and they're just doing like a
Mexico
style.
Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. A Taco Tuesday, if you will. Most of the teachers were dressed in sombreros. Aw, so nice little mild cultural appropriation. Every school does it. Who cares? We're celebrating culture. But 2 of them dressed up as U.S. Border Patrol agents in front of a wall. Oh boy, so they took the theme a little too much. I wonder who these teachers they got together. They go, I got a great idea. You know how we're doing Royale Cantina Day? Well, what if we're Border Patrol people? LOL, we'll bring a wall. That's Mexico, right? Everyone's going to be wearing sombreros. Fuck that. Let's be Border Patrol people. I wonder how many of the students are of Latino descent, because here's the thing. I think if I was a kid who was a Mexican child or what have you, and I saw the white teachers being like, hola, and wearing sombreros, I would be like, why don't they just wear Border Patrol shirts, for Christ's sake? This is less offensive. The school said it's hoping to move on from the mistake and have a good school year. At Royale, we take great pride in our long-standing tradition of embracing and supporting every student who walks through the doors of our building. Our staff is unanimously committed to celebrating the diversity of our families and ensuring that each and every student at Royale is successful, happy, and recognized for his or her unique culture and abilities. That's why we had this day where people were wearing fake mustaches and sombreros and going like, ooh, sí, señor. Golly. Today, this matter has been thoroughly investigated, and those who contributed to this event have been held accountable for their decision-making and actions. There is no room for anything of this nature in our schools. I will not tolerate it in our school district. Parents in the school district posted screenshots of the post online and voiced their opinion as well. They probably were like, hilarious. The parents are like, I think it's great. We need more of this. WMBF News spoke to a parent, Annette Fling, whose kids attend different elementary schools in the district. I was pretty furious. I was upset, offended. So Annette Fling, is that El Salvadorian? I mean, what are we talking? I wonder why she was so offended. I was pretty furious, upset, offended, disheartening. It's disheartening. It's sad because you feel like we're all equal. You try to live like that, and something like this is thrown in your face, and it's almost like you're a joke, said Fling. So is Fling a Latina lady? I don't know. Maybe she is. The National Director of Operations for the Racial Justice Network, Lanika Shelley Williams, said there needs to be consequences. We feel this woman goes by Shelley Williams, but her name is Lanika. I think she churched up her name to be the Director of Operations for the Racial Justice Network. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I can't be a Shelley and be the leader of that, the director of that. I got to really call me Lanika. We feel as though anybody that was involved, even down to the principal, they all need to be reprimanded, fired for all I care, because it doesn't make sense. There's no room for this type of behavior. Like I said, I wonder if they left out the Border Patrol 2 people, if they still would have been facing this backlash for just the sombreros. We have maracas, that kind of thing. I wonder if they'd still be facing the same type of anger. I'm pretty sure they would have, is my point. Because everyone involved is getting in trouble. The people who were just dressed innocently enough, doing the hola, those people are also, this is like a Chase mistake for some of these people. You know what I mean? If Chase was going to a Cinco de Mayo party, she would have been like, let's wear a funny little mustache and drink a margarita and stuff. And everyone would have been like, Chase, maybe pump the brakes a little bit and she would have been like, why? And then she would have been extra nervous that she was racist or something. There's probably teachers like that. But the Border Patrol thing put it over the top, obviously. I am appalled by the images shared by the educated professionals, but I am more disappointed that someone thought it was thought that this tasteless display was representative of. So they are. They're not even bringing up the Border Patrol part. They're like, the whole thing is offensive to these people. In a time where we should be bringing communities together to solve issues that chronically challenge us, like racism and bigotry, this type of tone-deaf behavior cannot be tolerated. The school has taken the post down, and they made a big statement, which I will not read. But it is funny. They didn't even bring up the board. They were like, the 2 teachers who wore Border Patrol shirts are the ones who will be facing consequence. No, a whole rigmarole. So you got some innocent lady who's just a little ignorant of what, That's why I don't touch anything. You don't know what the hell I am. I'm white as hell. That's it. And I stay that way. I stay in my lane. White as fuck. Well, as we move along here, this is from a first-time Roach reporter. When we get over to the new place, I'm going to have new sounds. I swear. I'm going to get one with a nice first-time Roach reporter sound for you. Encourage more people to chime in. And boy, oh boy, did he come with a doozy here. Harry Reed is the gentleman's name who sent this in. Thank you. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com. First-time Roach reporter. Hey, welcome to the show. All right, hey. It says, woman accuses people of pedophilia and then tries to kill them. Oh, boy. I guess if you're going to try to kill someone, you should have a justified reason, like them being pedophiles, perhaps. A Florida mother whose family is accused of ambushing law enforcement officers, killing one and injuring 2. Oh, my Lord. So these are cops that she accused of pedophilia, evidently, had sought to lure neighbors who she believed were pedophiles into a fatal trap at her home. So she's like Saw. You want to play a game? And then they come into her house, and then she's got like Home Alone booby traps for these people. She was interrupted, sadly, by sadly, I added that part in. She was interrupted by authorities, law enforcement officials said on Monday. A search of the family's home in Eustis, northwest of Orlando, revealed that more than 20 high-caliber rifles, shotguns, and pistols that had been staged around a living room, had been staged around a living room. Authorities also found a stockpile of ammunition, body armor, gas masks, ready-to-eat meals, ghillie camouflage suits, anti-government propaganda, and media promoting conspiracy theories. So this is a real house. You come across one of these, oh boy. You don't have people over when you have this kind of house, when you're just like, I would host a game night, but I've got all my munitions and my propaganda up still, and I'm not putting it away. I refuse. And then I got to explain, I'm making pedophile traps and getting ready for the apocalypse. This was nothing short of an ambush. The evidence will show that, according to the attorney for Florida's 5th Judicial Circuit. Julie Sulpizio, 48, was arrested on suspicion of murder, attempted murder, and other crimes. Court records show she is being held without bail. Because of the nature of this alleged crime, the case must go before a grand jury within 21 days. The public defender assigned... Okay, so let's find out what happened here. Her husband, Michael, was found dead in the family's home Friday. So was he a pedophile, or did he just wake up and stumble into one of the guns or something? Yeah, he's just... I took a wrong turn in the hallway and fell into one of the pedophile traps, when you wake up in the morning, you're a little foggy. Here I going to get a cup of coffee, I walk into a pedophile trap. Tales all the time in my home. Anyway, Michael Sulpizio was found dead in the family's home Friday after Grinnell said he fatally shot Lake County Master Deputy. Oh, so he shot a cop. All right. Bradley Link, 28, and critically injured a second officer, Deputy First Class Stefano Gargano. The third officer, Master Deputy Sheriff Harold Howell, was also wounded. These are wild titles, by the way. First Class, Second Class Master Deputy. Michael Sulpizio and the couple's 2 adult daughters were all found dead on the family's couch. Oh, boy. The body camera on Link, the fatally injured deputy, who was inside the family's home when he was shot multiple times, appeared to have captured them taking their own lives. Oh, boy. So they just were they killed the cop and they're like, we gotta put ourselves in the pedophile traps now. I'm sorry. The sheriff's office first responded to the scene at 7:45 p.m. Friday when authorities were told that a woman, later identified as Julie Sulpizio, was assaulting her neighbors, whom she accused of being sinners and saying, "I know what you did." Boy, oh boy, that's a nightmare neighbor situation. You know what I mean? Some of you out there are dealing with neighbors. You have maybe a hedge just hanging over the fence or something. Count your lucky stars so they're not setting pedophile traps and calling you sinners, because it could get out of hand real quick. After an officer arrived, she identified herself as Helen Under God's Will, whatever the hell that means, and said her neighbors were involved in pedophilia. Yeah, the cop shows up there and she's like, my neighbors, you'll never guess, involved in pedophilia. Oh, really? What evidence do you have to support that? God told me. Grinnell said one of the neighbors told the officer that Julie Sulpizio had tried to get them to walk to her house. Oh, like she's luring them. I've got naked children. Ooh, you want to see the naked child? Come on over. They did not trust her and did not go. In a later interview with investigators, Sulpizio said that she was trying to lure them to her home so her husband can kill them. She was not successful because of our deputies, he said. Yeah, I mean, they have their stand your ground law in Florida. So if a person were to enter your home, you lure them into your home, you could be like, can't do it with a cop though, I'm afraid. I don't think that's how it works, the stand your ground law. But yeah, so she was trying to lure the pedophiles in. Who knows what she was using? Child pornography, maybe a small child itself. I don't know, but she was trying to lure the pedophiles, and they did not take the bait, because I don't believe they probably were pedophiles indeed. A detective investigating the case said that the news conference that the investigators found bumper stickers, flyers, and handouts promoting anti-government propaganda and conspiracy theories at the home. Oh boy, just literature strewn about. The detective did not say whether the material is linked to the incident. In her interview with investigators, the detective said that Sulpizio said that she could visualize souls, and that it was her job to bring her husband dark souls. Oh, so if she sees you have a dark soul, she's got to bring her to her husband, who is the widowmaker, or whatever. Evidently the man the dark angel who takes your life. After Sulpizio was handcuffed, Grinnell said deputies tried to conduct a welfare check at her family's nearby home. Officers found 2 dead dogs in the front yard and a window screen that had been kicked out, he said. Inside, they saw 3 people running and believed a burglary or home invasion may have been in progress. Well, they were probably just trying to clean up all the illegal guns. Clean up the pedophile traps. The cops are coming. They're not dark souls, after all, that are coming over. It's the police. After roughly an hour, Grinnell said the deputies announced themselves and failed to reach anyone inside. They entered the home through a laundry room, and Link's body camera captured a man who appeared to be wearing body armor positioned with a rifle on the couch. Oh boy, that's not what you want to see when you enter the home. A gunman believed to be Michael fired several rounds, striking Link in the back. Howell was hit in the wrist, and he and the other deputies retreated. When officers tried to negotiate with the family for the release of Link's body, Grinnell said a woman in the home was captured on the deputy's body camera, racking her gun and yelling, "My king will kill all of you." Oh boy, is that her dad or God? Is that dad or God? I mean, this is wild. They got to make a movie about this man. Around 9:30 p.m., a tactical unit entered through the laundry room and was met with a volley of gunfire. Grinnell said that the deputy first class Stefano Gargano, who had a ballistic shield, was struck with multiple high-caliber rounds through a wall, incapacitating him. As other deputies tried to remove him, they were being actively engaged by the suspects, who is just this man and his 2 adult daughters. What the hell? I mean, these people own a home. This is the crazy thing to me. These people are a family. They own a home. How do they go so long and so far along the wayside? I need to know information. Like, if you're the neighbors of these people, the woman trying to lure you and saying you're a pedophile, like, you just go, that's my crazy neighbor Julie that calls me a pedophile every morning. Like, how do you live with these people next to you and not know any of this is going on? It can't be like one day. This wasn't a shock on this one day. You had to have some sort of lead up to this, right? As other deputies tried to remove him, they were being actively engaged by the suspects, like I mentioned. At 11:02 p.m., Grinnell said 2 gunshots were heard in quick succession. A third one was heard moments later. Inside, authorities found the bodies of Michael and the 2 daughters, Savannah and Cheyenne. Does it have pictures of these chicks? Are 23 and 22. Can I have saved them? My dark soul saves these women from this maligned religious hell. I would have been, that's going to be the movie I write. No, come with me.
No, I can't find any pictures.
Yeah, of course not. Gargano is stable, and Howell is expected to make a full recovery. Link was airlifted to a hospital, but pronounced dead, unfortunately. The sheriff's office said Link had worked for the department since 2019 and quickly became part of the family and faithfully served our citizens with courage and zeal. Well, that's a shame that this insane family, but I need to know more about what is the family's name? The Sulpizios. The Sulpizios. You know, we were just talking about the Rizzler and his family. We have Big Justice and the people that go to Costco, the Boom and Doom family. How far around the horseshoe do you got to go to be the Sulpizios? That's what I want to know.
It's just some Florida stuff, man.
Wild Florida stuff. Religion, guns, pedophiles. Golly, what a first Roach reporting for Harry Reid. What a debut. Thank you, sir. Well, T-Bone sent this bad boy in. T-Bone, of course, an award-winning Roach reporter. A former Louisiana mayor who resigned from office just days ago was arrested Thursday on accusations that she had sex with a minor. Oh, my Lord, Misty Roberts. Ooh, Mayor Misty Roberts. That's a hell of a name, Misty. Ooh. Play Misty again for me. Is that the name of that Clint Eastwood movie? Where he's like a DJ and he's like, hey, out there, call in and let me know what you're going to flick your bean to. Play Misty again for me.
Play Misty for me.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I don't fucking know that movie. It's the most dumb DJ movie in the history of time, but it was one of those movies where you go like, yeah, I work in radio. Some stalker lady's going to call me up. Ooh, Misty Roberts. 42. Well, she's a pedophile, evidently. She's a dark soul that could have been lured to the old home of the Sulpizios. Police said on Friday that the Beauregard Parish Sheriff's Office requested the state police's Special Victims Unit investigate a complaint against Roberts for allegations of sexual relations with a juvenile. Investigators interviewed 2 minors, one of whom was the alleged victim, police said, and both confirmed Roberts had sexual intercourse with one juvenile victim while employed as mayor. Could you imagine? You're just a young buck out there and you're like, some kid's like, I fucked my teacher, and you're like, I fucked the mayor. The mayor. My client learned late last night of the arrest warrant, despite not being contacted to be interviewed prior to the investigations obtaining the warrant, Johnson said. My client maintains her innocence as it stands, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, I don't care. I want to know more about the stuff. For nearly 15 years, my love and passion for DeRitter has been my foundation while serving as mayor. Is that the town, DeRitter?
Yep.
On Friday, she initially said that she would need to step away from the office for 2 weeks, but she resigned the very next day. That's always tough when you make an announcement. You're like, listen, I just need a little break. I'm going to just step away for 2 weeks, and the next day you're like, I got to resign. Because you find out that you are about to get arrested for fucking a minor. Oof, that's tough business. For nearly 15 years, my love and passion, blah, blah, blah. This role has rewarded me with many great relationships. I am humbled to have witnessed the hard work that took the community to come together, yada, yada, yada. I got to focus on my priorities, which is being arrested. The former mayor turned herself into investigators without incident. Roberts was arrested at 10:03 and released at 11:00. I want to hear more about what the hell is going on here. According to the city's website, Roberts graduated from DeRitter High School. Boy, oh boy, they don't really get into the nitty-gritty of this at all. Damn. Like, how does she even meet a minor? You know? Was it at the town fair? What the hell was she even doing? I mean, with a teacher, you get it. It's like, this was my teacher. I had sex with one of my students. But when does the mayor see a minor? You know?
Yeah, I'm not finding anything else. It says that the Louisiana State Police conducted interviews with the 2 kids, but that's all that you can find about it.
Yeah, how did she meet these people? Interesting stuff. But it is wild that a mayor, T-Bone sent in, he goes, mayor sleeps with minor. It is wild. We do have a teacher, though, in the news as well. Josh Nordby sent this in. A Pennsylvania elementary school teacher is accused of publicly masturbating at a cemetery. Now, that's just good old fun. Who's not jerking it at a cemetery? I've never masturbated at a cemetery. What if it's a story before I don't even know the real context of this? What if he's a widower and his wife's there and he just wanted one, he's like, I miss you so much, baby. And he's over her grave and he strokes one out. It's pretty wholesome. Would you arrest him for that? I don't think so. Just a sad man over his wife's graves masturbating? Give the guy a break. Do people masturbate over their spouse's grave? I wonder. I wouldn't hold it against him. I feel like a cemetery should be used for that. There should be like certain hours that you should be able to go jerk off at your spouse's grave. Let's find out if that was indeed the case or if this man was just ripping one out in a random spot and he happened to get caught. A Pennsylvania elementary school teacher is accused of publicly masturbating at a cemetery in Montgomery County in March, as well as a park. Oh, he's doing it in the park too in Bucks County? Well, Jesus. At least he's not doing it at the school. Can we look at the glass half full here? On March 3rd, 2024, shortly before 6 p.m., police responded to the White Marsh Cemetery along the 1100 block of Limekiln Pike in Horsham Township, Pennsylvania. Good God, for a report of a man exposing himself to people. When police arrived, they were met with witnesses who say they were walking their dog at a cemetery when they noticed a man, later identified as the 47-year-old Matthew Gaggett of Horsham, who was by a headstone in the garden area. The witnesses said they initially believed the man was urinating before realizing he was masturbating. Yes, urinating on a grave, way less complimentary than masturbating onto one. Because that could have been someone you loved or you slept with or you thought about all the time and you missed. If you piss on it, you're like, fuck you, I'm pissing on your grave. But if you jerk off onto the grave, that's the complete opposite of pissing onto a grave, if you ask me. The witnesses said Gaggett then began to walk in their direction while helicoptering his penis. Oh, well, you can't really do that. He's like, ring, ring. Did he see them in the dog? He's like, hey, guys, what's up? helicoptering. Who actually helicopters their penis? Is my penis too small that I just haven't had the urge to helicopter it? I don't ever helicopter. I've done the thing where I've like slapped it against my legs or whatever. Alone, you're in the shower or something. But I've never helicoptered my penis. Maybe I should try it. Especially not in public. The witnesses said that they continued to walk away and then made their way back to their vehicle a short time later. They then noticed the man in the same area masturbating behind a woman as she looked at her phone. Well, now he's masturbating by alive people. You can't do that at the cemetery. I was on your side if it was your wife's grave. But if you're just following alive people in the cemetery and masturbating because you have a cry fetish, that's tough business. And I don't agree with that. The witnesses then called the police at that point. The officers then found and confronted the man who claimed he was urinating by a tree and walking through the cemetery to clear his mind. Oh, he was clearing something, all right. The witnesses then reiterated their prior accusations against Gaggett, who was then cited for indecent exposure, open lewdness, and disorderly conduct. He did not have to post any bail at the time due to being cited with misdemeanor crimes. In the criminal complaint, an officer involved in the investigation said police had previous contact with this man, but didn't specify what that prior incident was. That's interesting. He was also charged in connection to a separate incident that occurred at Bucks County in June, said the investigators. On June 7th, 2024, at around 9 p.m., police responded to the area of Lenape Park in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. They were met by a witness who said she was near a cabin in the park when she spotted a man across the creek on Sellersville Armory side who appeared to be, guess what? Touching his penis. Golly. Is this like one of those afflictions where you have this sort of like, I have to jerk off outside, and it's just a curse that certain people have to live with? I don't know. I'll just go in your fucking house where you can masturbate. I'll come to my house. I jerk off like 6 times in a day if I want to. I can jerk off as much as I pay rent here. You know what I mean? No one's going to tell me to stop. Can't do it at the park. Even hobos can't. The woman told the man, who they later identified as Gaggett, was masturbating as he stared at her from across the river. God, that's tough. You got to look across the whole... Get a fucking iPad and go in your house, guy. Come on. You can look at all the women you want on your iPad. You're squinting across the river. What, you got it, binoculars out there or something? Jesus.
It's also just a scene out of a horror movie. Like, you look across a river and there's a man staring at you masturbating.
Oh, my God. It's just, think about, like, how difficult it is to get that nut off. You're outside by the river. There's mosquitoes. You got to... Oh, boy, you get, by chance, a woman is across the river. I mean, what if there was no women across the river? You're still doing it. You still got your dick out. What, are you jerking off to the fish? It just seems so nonsensical to me. And it's like, what is the kink here? Evidently, it's not enough to raise any alarms as far as hiring this man to teach at an elementary school. This is the guy, yep, teaching your kids. God, I can't wait till class is out so I can go to the park and jerk my dick at any hopeful person that walks by. The citations against the man in connection to the Horsham Township incident in March were waived after the case was transferred to the court of. So they just like got a whole bunch of stuff on this guy. He's a 5th grade teacher at Linwood Elementary School in Haverton, Pennsylvania. Haverford Township School District Superintendent Maureen Roush sent a letter to the parents on July 23rd, stating that the district didn't learn of the allegations against the man until July 22nd. Hilarious. So this guy's like coming to work and shit still for summer school, and they're like, hey, this thing came across the wire here. He's like, really? So I guess I can't work here anymore? First and foremost, we understand and share the concern this news causes and the desire for more information and for a meaningful response from the school district. We will do our very best to provide as much accurate information, context, and support as soon as possible. It's got to be tough to be the person that hired this guy and be like, yeah, I really whiffed on this one, you know? I mean, it's one thing to hire just like a bad teacher. It's another thing to hire one that's like, oh, he's a fucking pervert. Man, anybody who hires a pervert, it's like, you got to go back and find the like thing in that, you know? How many perverts you get before you don't have hiring abilities anymore at a school? Because, I don't hear about these school, like when you find out about a teacher sleeping with their student, you don't find out about the person who hired them getting fired, the superintendent or the principal or what have you. How many do you get? Well, you get 2? That's crazy. You know what I mean? It should be like, you don't get to hire people anymore. One and done. After news of the alleged actions of Gaggett surfaced, some of the community questioned why it took so long for the school district to find out. Yeah, it's like all over the news and shit, and the school district's like, do. Dennis Andrews, the education attorney and former prosecutor, told NBC 10 that Pennsylvania Department of Education form requires any school district employee in the Commonwealth to report when they've been arrested for any of the crimes listed. Oh, so it's on the honor system. That's good to know. The guy jerking off in the cemetery is supposed to be like, hey, hand up, I was arrested for public indecency and a bunch of other things. Since the district is aware of it now, they should be undertaking disciplinary proceedings against the teacher, which would certainly include, I would think, keeping him out of the classroom with an eye towards termination. Really? That's up for grabs? They're like, I don't know if we're going to terminate the guy yet or not. He didn't jerk off at the school after all. It was just across the river, It was at a cemetery. He wasn't doing it at the school. He did have that judgment. It's crazy that they're even like thinking they're like, you're suspended or whatever. Imagine him coming back after that to the classroom and be like,
crazy summer.
Oh, Mr. Gaggett? Yeah, the guy arrested last summer for fucking jerking off in the park. I mean, God, it's one thing if you got like a DUI or something like that, or something that's like unrelated to sex in a crazy way. Unbelievable. I'm not updating Windows. He's entitled to a hearing. He's entitled to due process, and the school board can appoint someone to conduct. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. We know there are questions regarding the employment status of the teacher. While employee privacy and the due process rights of public employees do not allow us to share specific details, I can share that the process is underway and the employee has been suspended. As part of that, he has been directed that he is not to be present on district property or in district buildings. He has not been teaching in any summer programs, according to the superintendent. You gotta just fucking pay teachers more money so that we stop having like literal sexual deviants and retards be teachers. I am so like, it is crazy out there. Just letting any people with a soft brain teach your children because we can't pay them more than $35,000 a year. This is nuts, folks. It's the one thing I'd fix in this world if I had the opportunity, but I do not. I'm just a mere podcast host / comedian with a giant migraine, and thanks you so much for tolerating me. This side's a blur. I don't even know if it was funny. I can barely read the copy. I can barely read the articles. But next week, friends, we will be at the Comedy Store, and I will be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I cannot wait to start a new era of the program. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Bobby. They will be coming with and along with. People have been asking about Kirsten, by the way. And Kirsten, I don't know if you remember, she runs Night Pants Studio. Ryan Sickler keeps adding podcasts there. She's been very busy. We welcome her back at some point down the road. I can't wait, as a guest, of course. But I appreciate everything she's done, and she's always welcome here in the Roach Motel. And she knows this as well. So thank you for asking about Kirsten and if she's coming to the Comedy Store. But we appreciate all the things that she's done. And like I said, we'll have her back around here and there. But she has a lot going on over there at the old Night Pants Studio. So we will see you next week live from the comedy, or not live, but from the Comedy Store. Maybe one day we'll do it live. That'd be very cool. But other than that, this week I will be in Portland, Maine, coming up here on the 6th. That's in 2 days, folks. Get your tickets at thejoshpotter.com. Also, the day after that, on the 7th, I'm going to be in Long Island at Governor's. Those tickets at thejoshpotter.com as well. And I'm going to be September 12th in Brea, California, here in Southern California, Brea Improv. So get those tickets as well. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com. Send in your Roach reportings. Get those in for our debut at the Comedy Store Studios. I'd love to have some banger reports from y'all out there. So send them on in. I love you very much. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the like button, do all that shit. It goes a long way for the Roach over here. I love you, and we'll see you next week right here on The Josh Potter Show.
Come 2011 direct with the Roach. We shotgun the beers, I got time for a toast. It's the only place I get my sports like for real, son. He taught us nobody's more sus than Russell Wilson.
Here's the deal, son, won't find us in Walmart. Josh Potter, keep it frank, kinda like a ballpark. It wasn't nothing talking all that jism. Turns out there's a lot of semen terrorism.
Now it's time we hit 'em, bringing Votto to the plate. Roachy, your awards with Chase O'Donnell the Great. Let me stop for a second, cause it's Ask Marty time. Cause it's idiocy, you know I cannot abide.
Not a fan of these guys, gonna damage the rise. Worse than the host known as the Roach. Leave an idiot woman standing on the side or looking like she just tripped into a moat.
I'ma kill this Henny beat like murder. Been in more studios than most have ever heard of. Pleased to be listening, hit that like and subscribe. So many Bills hats got the mafia vibe.
A lot to describe like a Roach reporter. Teacher on OF, don't report her. Trying to live life with my mannequin wife and my mannequin kids if that's my mannequin right.
Been a fan of this guy since the Roach Motel. Couple hundred weeks in, still funny as hell. From the tit cups to back sis and blind eyes, Potter has one of the best shows of all time.
Now watch this drive. Pop a couple tall cans with the Roach King and caught the vibe. Ready to pour more, scurry out the floorboards, hit like, comment, and subscribe.